Hey, I'm Brian Van, SportbikeTrackYou.com, and today we're going to talk about the Armour Body's Superbike seat pan and pad for the Ninja 400. Okay, so I've ridden the Ninja 400 with both the OEM seat on it on the track, and then now the Armour Body's Superbike seat. And the first thing I noticed when I got this thing on there and went out on track is it altered the seating position. It raised the rider position up quite a bit. Now you're sitting more on the bike than I would say you're sitting in the bike. And if you look at your seat height here, and what we're going to compare it with is we're going to look right up here in the front area. You can see there's the seam of the fuel tank. Okay, the leading edge of this is well under that. You can see the gap that I have here from that center pad. Raising the seat height of this bike was really beneficial in terms of ergonomics when it translates to clip-on height, okay? By raising this up a little bit, the rider is going to be less cramped from seat to foot pegs, and also being higher back here naturally makes the clip-ons feel a little bit lower. And that's one thing with this bike that's a little bit challenging is your clip-on position, okay? On this motorcycle, we're using the Woodcraft Ninja 400 specific clip-ons. I've ridden with them quite a bit. Max has ridden with them, and we feel this is really the best option for this bike. They are the right height. They fit perfectly. They're designed specifically for this bike, and you don't end up with any conflicts, right? There's no rubbing. There's no contact with the bodywork. That's just not something you want to deal with. And I could actually lower these, slide these down just a little bit on the fork tubes if I wanted to get even a little bit lower position. But what we found is this is a really good aggressive riding position. It's a positive change, especially with that seat pan. So to install the seat pan, your first step is going to be removing the OEM seat. We're going to need to reuse this little bracket right here. Let's start by showing you a comparison of what these look like underneath. And you can see they look very, very similar. Even just laying here, this one's sitting on top is cool, so I'll move those out of the way right now. Laying them side by side, it's pretty darn apparent what's going to happen here. Okay, this one is sitting significantly higher, and it's very noticeable when on the motorcycle. In order to get this install done, the first thing we have to do is remove this bracket. Being completely transparent now, I'm going to tell you that this was not a super easy install. You know, my hopes were right up front that, hey, I'm just going to drill this hole here out. There was a dimple, put in a fastener, put this bracket on, and I'm going to be cash money good to go. It was not quite that simple, okay? I had to make some adjustments, and I'll kind of cover that here with you at the best of my ability in order to get this to fit nicely on the motorcycle. Took some measurements, right? Trying to compare location of the bracket to get it as close as I possibly could with the OEM seat before I drilled the hole. Used a fastener here with a locking nut. I did put a washer on the backside too, if you can see that. This is just some hardware that I had in my spare bin. The paint job on this, that is a Krylon spray bomb. We already had the bodywork painted by our painter, Detroit Custom Paint, so please do not judge the paintwork. This is a spray bomb. We were heading to the track and I really wanted to get the opportunity to run the seat pan. So I went ahead and did the old spray bomb. Okay, let's go ahead and get that torqued down. You want to get that as square as you can. It's a little off center there. Back this off. That looks pretty good right there. Okay, now let's go over to the motorcycle. Okay, if you have Armour Body's race bodywork installed, it's going to make this process a little bit easier getting this lined up for the very first time. You can leave that little closeout panel out and you have clear sight line for the latch. Make sure the tanks slide under the fuel tank support, like so. And then you can look back through that access. And you could also just remove the tail section when doing this. And let's make sure that that's going to drop in there like that. Oh, I got that lined up pretty good right now. And that did take a little bit of adjustment, complete transparency to get that. That wasn't a first run and drop right in. What are the adjustments that I had to make to this? I did do just the tiniest little bit of grinding pre-paint up in this area here. And you can see here too, the hole. I made some changes here. I actually made that during the install of this video. And I moved that forward just a little bit, so I oblong the hole just a little bit. But I like the end result that I got. Goes on pretty easily. It finds its slot, locks in there quite nicely. And look at this. When you have it on the bike, you can clearly see how much higher that's sitting. Okay, so let's go ahead and get you a real good baseline reference right now. There it is. This also includes the pad, and that pad does compress a little bit, but it doesn't flatten all the way down. So you can see now we are very close to the bottom of that tank protector pad. Let's go ahead and pull the seat pan off and make a comparison to the OEM one. That is a pretty substantial difference. And it really improves the ergonomics of this motorcycle quite a bit. And it works in conjunction with the Woodcraft clip-ons. Slide that back in, wiggle around. Hear that latch, nice positive latch. And I'll be straight with you, I didn't know in advance that the Superbike seat sat higher than the OEM seat. I got this thing all fitted up, and then once I did, and I sat on it for the first time after having the pattern, I'm like, wow, that feels a little different. Where it really felt different was on the racetrack. And it didn't take long to adjust to it and then appreciate the ergonomic benefit that you got on this motorcycle by having that higher seating position. A little higher back here makes these feel a little bit lower. It's a lot easier to get into an athletic riding position. Overall, I'm very happy with this. I'm happy with the way it's changed the riding experience on the bike. That's a big win, right? It took a little screwing around to get it to fit good and to be really happy with it. When I say a little, it wasn't extreme. It was a little, but this is a complicated thing when you think of the tolerances that are required here to wedge in under the fuel tank support. And then that little latch, that catch at the back, getting that lined up just right. I think if you have good access, good sight line to the latch, that's going to help you do that for sure. You know, have the tail removed, or if you have the Armour Body's bodywork, just have that panel off, and that's going to really help you do that. Okay, if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments section of this video. I answer all those myself. I'll be happy to answer any of those for you and help you get the same end result we did with our bike.